place, and Natalie Schneider in third. So this will bring them up into the start-finish arena. And it looks like Lenny Byberger might be there in the red colours, trying to pick up the yellow plate. It is. So Lenny Byberg sitting in there behind Schneider. So interestingly, Gunrita Dalla, plate number 12, looking very strong here today. This could be her best result, as I mentioned, since she raced in the Beijing Olympics in 2008, where she felt a little bit odd during that race, and soon after got tested and found that she was pregnant, and since then has been a mum. But right now we find her towards the head of the field, where we're used to seeing her pre-2008, and she could be on for a chance for a podium. But it's Bressett now that's made the move. Bressett has made the move up to Ren Cheng-Wan. So Bressett, the under-23 leader, and one of the youngest riders in the field. And as I mentioned before, the under-23 women's race starts after this race. The top under-23 riders in the world have the option whether to race elite or in the under-23 category. So you'll see riders like Julie Bressett and Annie Last who've opted to ride with the elite because that's where they feel they should be racing at that level. And Bressett comes through in second. Sabine Spitz, a very strong ride for her in third, and Borshowska, our world champion, going through in fourth. Catherine Pendrell going through in fifth, in podium position. Finished here sixth last year. Eva Lechner in sixth place right now. And after Lechner, you're going to have Natalie Schneider, who's starting to drop back. And we see that a lot from Natalie Schneider. She can often start very strong, but starts to drop back. But they're our 1 and 2. The number plate tells it all. These are our 1 and 2 in the overall classification. These were the two top women from South Africa. And even though that was a number of weeks ago now, they've maintained the form and are leading this field. Ren Cheng-Wan for the Specialized Factory team, and Julie Bressett for BA Suntour. And now we see Sabine Spitz coming through, riding there with the world champion. Both of them have been world champion. This is Maja Borshowska from CCC team, and there's Lechner and Pendrell. Now Pendrell tracing to get back onto Lechner's wheel there. That will be important if she wants to stay in touch with the lead group. And we see the team manager there, Waldeck from Luna, passing up a bottle there. I would imagine that's to probably his second rider coming through, Katharina Nash in 9th place, who's just gone past Gunrita Dalla, who seems to be fading a little bit. Emily Batty there, sitting on her tail. And then we should see Annie Last, who's just been gapped a little bit, but she's getting some words of encouragement there from national coach Phil Dixon. There she is, Gunrita Dalla for the Merida Multivan team. And also worth noting, the Esther Zeus has come through in 18th, Marie-Hélène Premont in 19th, so not a good start for Premont, plate number 9. I should be a little bit disappointed about that. The rest of them seem to be running on order, although Cecile Ravenel is doing quite well for the La Pierre team. She's moved up from 42nd to 20th place, so that's a good result so far for her. And having another look down the order to see if we've got any MIA top riders. Well, it looks like, of course, the only one I see there is Valentier. What this is, looks like Esther Zeus has been having a bit of a problem here. So plate number 11, Esther Zeus has come in now for it. This would explain why she's a little bit further down than where she would like to be. Esther Zeus finished in the top 5 overall for the World Cup last year, and our second most senior rider in the field. Esther Zeus, 36 years of age. Or turns 36 later this year, but it's third place rider right now, Sabine Spitz, who's the eldest woman in the field that I can see, and born in 1971, so she's actually turning 40 just after Christmas later this year. So women's age a lot different to the men's. You can see that the women tend to do a lot better a little bit older. This is why Julie Bressett's performance is so remarkable, that someone who's not yet in the elite category is right up there challenging for a win. Real problems here, not getting much help for Esther Zeus, it has to be said. So just trying to get her chain back on the rings there as Heather Omega goes through plate 24. Well, disappointment there for Esther Zeus, the top rider from Switzerland, but I'm sure she's got her sights set on the World Championships in Chambéry a little bit later this year. Of course, next week we're in Offenburg, a classic venue in the Black Forest in Germany. Be sure to join us for that next week. Same time, just an hour earlier, sorry, for those on Central Eastern European time. Central European time, sorry. So what is it now, Will? Is it summertime now they call it, CST? Oh, here we're on BST, British Summertime, okay. And CST for Central, is it Central? They don't call it summer there, they just call it CET, okay. All right, back with our leaders. Julie Bressett has taken the challenge and decided to lead Rengcheng 1 into the area that we know as Warri Gill. And I'm not sure, is that some sort of dialect that I'm not familiar with? Why would they call it Warri Gill? Gully I would go for. Warri Gill? Is there some guy called Gill that was worried whether it would work or not? Not quite sure, Will.
Yeah, there's a few colloquial names from Yorkshire, I think, thrown into here. But a gill, I believe, is a gully. Now, if somebody else wants to correct us on that, please send us a message.
So it's Warri Gully for those of us who don't speak the local dialect. Well, that makes sense. And the contour road, I guess, is following the contour of the hill. And that's a wide open section of the track. And then you get down to, well, Peathead Rig. Peathead, I would assume, is to do with the soil. But a rig, I wouldn't know what that means, R-I-G-G. Rig
is like, I believe, a headland, something like that, yeah.
All right, and Jingleby Summit, I understand what that is. A Medusa's Drop, I guess, is to do with the fact that it's a snake line. And anyway, we're back with our leaders. We'll figure out the local dialect for you later on. But right now we have Julie Bressett trying to put it towards Rengcheng 1. And this is fascinating because these are our two top riders from South Africa, and they're back in the same place they were just about, what is it, 3 or 4 weeks ago now. And it's amazing that they've maintained this form over the rest of the field. Irena Kalentiova, not here, of course. She was the race winner here in 2010. And if you're just joining us, the 2009 world champion, unable to get her visa processed in time between South Africa and this event. It is difficult with some of these countries like Russia and South Africa, because you have to give your passport in order to have your visa processed, but at the same time you're traveling, and it can be difficult to get all of that lined up in advance. And poor Irena missed out. I think it is by just 1 or 2 days, and that will be very difficult for her overall chances. And but I'm sure she'll be in Germany, where she's based most of the year, without any problem in Gothenburg next week. Gunrita Dala, Flesja Dala Flesja, I've got to get that right, going through, and Emily Batty right behind her, and Annie Lars has managed to catch up that gap, so those three riding together. And this is now the section called, well, I call it Pinball Alley, but it's an amazing little section down through here. There's got a couple of bus stops where they have to sort of slow them down because it gets so fast down through there, but it was really quite fun, a little bit more fun to ride than it is to race. When you're racing at high speed, you really have to be careful where you put your front wheel, and I wouldn't have been surprised to see a few riders covered with black marks on their shoulders and hips after this section, because we might see that more in the men, where they were really hitting it so fast in training. And great one day to have the budget in order to run a cable cam all the way down that gully, because you get an amazing shot all the way overhead down this gully, because it is about 400 meters long. But those sorts of things cost plenty of money. But right now we've got 6 cameras on this one, Will.
8 cameras.
8 cameras today. Yeah. 8 cameras. So 8 cameras covering the action on a 6-kilometer track. We are working our way through lap number 2 of 5. And just picking up for you the top 10 as they came through. It was Cheng 1, followed by Bressett, Spitz, Borschowska, Pendrell, Lechner, Schneider. Lechner having a better ride this week than she did in South Africa. Schneider starting to fade a little bit, as we've seen her do that before. Byberg a little bit out of touch there in 8th place. She finished 10th here last year, but remember last year was the start of her illness worries, sort of like a chronic fatigue, which actually took her off the bike for the rest of the season after Houffalize. Katarina Nash sitting in 9th, moving up from 43rd, so that's a great start by Katarina. And Flesja Batty last, as we saw go through now. Anja Langvaart, the Danish champion, she's sitting in 13th, and that's a great ride by her as well. And it looks like the Kiwi rider, Rosario Joseph, backing up her 14th in South Africa by sitting in 14th again in this race. So watch for Joseph. Definitely the best rider out of the Commonwealth, or sorry, out of Australasia for now. And behind her we've got Hurikova from Czech Republic, and then the first of the Slovenian riders, Homonovic, plate number 27. So Nina Homonovic, and she's riding for the Orbea GX team, and looking pretty good there at about 1 minute down from the leaders. So we're back now to Medusas, and we're going to see our leaders come down through here for the second of 5. Well, it looks like, yes, Rengcheng 1 has pulled away on this. Now, I would have thought that Bressett had a little bit more technical ability and be able to get ahead here. It is important when you're riding together and you feel more confident on the technical sections to take control of the pace. But Cheng Wan has done that, and she's coming up to that corner where she slipped off before, managed that without an incident this time. And little gap there, nothing too much for Bressett to worry about because there is the long climb coming up and she is the slider of the two with that distinctive arch back. You can pick her up from a mile off, Julie Bressett. She does have a bit of an arch back position on her bike. And here we now see Sabine Spitz coming down in 3rd place. And it looks like she will probably have Wachowska look for the all-white colours, the rainbow the rainbow jersey of the world champion. It is actually Wachowska ahead of Spitz there, so they're both in white with coloured bands. And Pendrell now has managed to move up a little bit closer to them. So Pendrell's going to try and get right on the back of these two, and that is our podium, our provisional podium, top 5 as Lechner goes through as well, still in touch. So those 6 riders now starting to get a bit of a gap on Byberg and Katharina Nash going through just now. And Schneider should be in there as well. If not, she's fallen back into the clutches of Gunrika Dalla Flesja. So let's just see who we've got coming up next. Now this is Dalla Flesja coming through, the Norwegian. And then you should have Emily Batty and Annie Lars. So they're holding position. But who's starting to catch up to them now? It looks like it's number 13. So that's Anja Langvad. So another one of the Scandinavians. I was going to say Scandinavian then. That's not quite right. Scandinavians doing extremely well. And we've seen her in the background of the top 20 for some races now, but she's starting to move up a little bit better. Anja Langvad and then Rosario Joseph in behind as well. Disappointing ride, I'd have to say, for Marie-Hélène Cremont back in 19. She may have had a problem, but we saw Esther Zeus trying to fix her problem in the pits, and that explained a lot about her distance back. But the big movers in the top 10 now really are Eva Lechner and Katharina Nash. Looks like plate 33 coming through now, that's Hannah Klein. And one of the Rabobank riders as well. Rabobank having a big presence here at the World Cup. Many vehicles and a lot of riders. And that one there is, look like plate number 28, but I'll try and pick that up for you for Rabobank. No, it was 26 was Katie Compton going through there. Katie Compton was doing pretty well last time around. She moved up 3 spots to 23rd place. And she came through at the end of the start loop in 33rd, so picked up quite a few spots there, Katie Compton. She is, of course, the famed cyclocross rider. Just have a little bit further down. Remember, you can look at UCI timing if you want to see other people a bit further down in the field. But Tracy Mosley came through in 69th place, 4 minutes 49 down. And she's aiming for a top 60 today, she tells me, because there's enough points there for her to earn the minimum 20 to be able to enter World Cups. Cross countries again if she wanted to do so this year. So she's aiming for a top 60. She's sitting in 69th. She's moved up about 20 spots since her start. And looking for Annika Beerten. Annika Beerten came through in 78th spot. So, and Tanja Zakels did come through after her mechanical at Tech Zone 2. But she was back in 79th spot, 6 minutes down, so she had lost a lot of time trying to fix that. But we'll keep track of her because her plate number 17 means that she's someone that's going to be charging away back up through the field a little bit later on.
I had a few questions, Martin, coming in about the Friday night event, the Pro Sprint Eliminator, what our thoughts are on that, because obviously it brought together quite a few disciplines there. There was downhillers and four-crossers and cross-country riders, and it's kind of a one-off, but do you think we can see more of those in the future? Yeah, I mean, they're running 3 of them this year. You'll see them here in Dalby Forest, Offenburg and Novo Mesto in Czech Republic. In the format they did them here was a 4-rider sprint eliminator, so that meant the best 2 went through to the next round. The next 2 races will be 6-rider format. They have a slightly wider tracks there, so they can run 6 riders. I think it's a really cool idea. We used to do these in the 90s, slightly different formats, time trials, different things in the villages to try and let people know in the local town centres that up in the forest we got a great race and here are some of the stars. So it's a great way to promote the sport. For most of the people who were there who were watching, they had a beer in their hand. It was Friday night, they were all having a good time, good bit of free entertainment, and the racing was well-spirited and pretty intense. So I really enjoyed it. I think a lot of the riders enjoyed it. There are valuable world ranking points, up 60 points for a win,
which is a massive amount of points. So the rider's taking it very, very seriously, and of course pre-Olympic, every single point you can get for qualifying your country for the Olympics. So there's added incentive. Once again, we see Ren Chen 1 taking the outside line there, and I think she's done a great job there, moving up right in front of Julie Bressett. So she did pick up a bit of time there, and like I said, I think there'll be a few team managers watching that one for the men's race. So yeah, the Sprint Eliminator, great little format that was only run last year for the first time here in Dalby Forest, down in the town of Pickering. The Mayor of Pickering was down there, and she was not missing out on an opportunity to talk about the greatness of the town of Pickering.